Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is Santi Reviews here with
Erston.
and we just got back from watching All Eyez on Me, which is a movie about Tupac Shakur. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll it. All right, we're back. So if you don't know by now, it's spoiler territory. So if you stayed, it's at your own risk, right?
Right.
All right, like I said, this is All Eyez on Me, Tupac Shakur, I guess bio movie.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed more like a special on AMC or
A&E,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, kind of like a documentary, sort of.
It wasn't like Straight Outta Compton where it was more of a story based. It was more of just factual things happening.
Events.
Yeah.
Chronologically. Yeah.
I mean, I liked it because I knew who Tupac was. You know, I listened to his music when I was growing up, and so I know all the events and I knew all the music. So if you like the music, if you like all that, I mean, it's just like listening to his greatest hits. Erston here.
I lived under a rock. I was living in Germany with my dad. We were stationed. He was stationed in the army there, and so I really missed like all the events that happened. I was in Germany at the time, and the only real news station was Armed Forces Network, and I don't think they ever reported on it at all. So
yeah, so I really liked it. Erston, what'd you think?
I liked it. I mean, it, like I said, it's kind of like a documentary type of movie. So if you're not into the those kinds of movies, then it's probably not going to be your thing. But no, I really did like it, and it was kind of cool, since I didn't know anything about Tupac, kind of seeing how he was actually pretty intellectual, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and it was reflected in, especially his early lyrics, I guess, not so much his later stuff.
Yeah, it started off where he was in jail for illegally touching somebody. Like, supposedly a girl cried rape, but there was no evidence, so he went to jail for touching her, basically. And so he was doing an interview, and it started like he was talking to the interviewer, and then it starts where his mom was a Black Panther, and she defended herself in court because they were accusing the Black Panthers of having plans to kill the cops, police, and she was found innocent.
Yeah, and doing all this while pregnant with him.
Yeah. And I don't know how true that is. I really don't follow on his mom, but I knew like all the stuff that happened with Tupac was actually pretty factual, and that his dad, his real dad, wasn't really in the picture.
Yeah.
I think he only saw him
I don't think you even saw him at all. Really.
Like 3 times out of his life or something like that.
Yeah, that's what he said. But like, I don't think you ever see him on camera.
No, you don't.
On the movie.
And his stepdad was Shakur. I don't remember his full name, but
I don't either.
Shakur. So he kept his stepdad's name. And the guy who played Tupac, what was his name?
Demetrius Shipp?
Shipp Jr.? Yeah. I mean, he looked like Tupac to me. He had and he did a pretty good job, I think, as portraying Tupac,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of missed the whole Tupac being famous part, but at least I feel like he did, very good at conveying the emotions and stuff that I'd expect.
Yeah, I expect a 20-year-old to be doing.
Rising star.
Yeah, but I mean, I liked it because when he first was getting started, he knew who Jada Pinkett Smith was, and back when he was in high school.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool that they touched on that relationship and how they were just really good friends, and how they kept meeting throughout his life.
Yeah, and she was kind of like. Sort of like, I guess, sort of symbolizing his, like, where he started and what he was.
Yeah, before all
the Hollywood life and all that got to him.
Yeah, and then his mom moved him from Baltimore. I think that's where they were from. Moved him to Oakland, and like the funniest part to me was. They first get there, and he's trying to get into the apartment, knocking on the door, and this chick kills kills a guy just right in front of him, and he's just knocking on the door as hard as he can, trying to get in. Yeah. And it's just like, wow, it got real. That's where it got real for me.
Pretty much, yeah.
And his mom, I guess, had a drug problem back in Baltimore. It didn't really get into it in Baltimore.
Yeah,
But then when she was in Oakland, then it shows that she was into crack.
Crack.
Yeah. So he had to start getting in the rap game, which is with Digital Underground.
Yeah.
And he does a verse on that song. Like, first he went on tour with them as like a backup singer.
Yeah.
A roadie almost, and then he got on the track because he needed money, you know. And if you guys don't know, look it up. Tupac with Digital Underground. I think that whole verse was actually, I think, was pretty cool. Just that how he can come off the top of his head with verses that go with beats. I thought that was cool. What'd you think?
That was really good, and you know, like I said, his lyrics really, I think, spoke more than like his later stuff. Except when he was being more intellectual about it.
Yeah, and then
being more about sending a message.
Being just telling the truth, I guess.
Yeah.
Like his truth.
Said.
Yeah. And like he found out his mom was actually getting a lot of crack, and told the guy from Digital Underground that he needed his own like tracks, so he can get his own record deal. And you know, I think it was Brenda's Got a Baby. I remember when that song came out when I was younger, and it was like, that was a powerful song, and the lyrics were powerful, and it shows how he had to like tell Interscope that, hey man, this is something that needs to be out there. It's not entertaining. It's just. It's the truth. It's the truth, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and then it goes from there where he starts blowing up on his own. But every time something goes good for him, it's always shadowed with something. Like, he just tries to go out to go have fun, and people roll up on him, challenging him, you know, talking crap in his face. So that every time he made money, he had to spend it on lawyers and stuff like that, because he was always getting into trouble. And it shows in one scene, if you want to take it over, what scene it was, that it shows just how bad it really got for him.
Oh, or like where it was showing all the like news clippings of all the charges that that were being brought against him, saying he was talking about how he was arrested like 10 times. Every time something good happens, there's always bad stuff that follows.
Yeah, like he was just going to the park with his friends, and they were just trying to have a good time, you know, minding their own business, signing autographs for fans. And then people step up to him, and they call him like a poser, a fake, you know, phony, you know. And Tupac puts them in their place. I like when he was just like, don't get mad at me because I'm doing me. I'm doing something with my life, or you just looking for a handout. And it shut him down. I thought that was cool where it just shut that guy like.
Not even that, like looking for a handout from me.
Yeah. And then that's when the guy just stopped, and Pac was walking away, and that's when the guy tried to cheap shot him, and his friends got into it and they started fighting, and then like a bullet went off and it shot a kid. And it just shows like how he couldn't even get out because every time he did, something always went wrong.
Yeah, even if it's not like directly his fault, like bad fortune always follows him.
I think the hardest part to me to watch was when he was just crossing the street and the cops, like it shows his point of view. Yeah. Because there's no cell phones back in the day. You know, if you needed to film something, you had to pull out like a 10-pound camera and put in the tape, and so it just shows how Tupac was always getting harassed by the cops because he was in the hood. He was just kicking in the hood.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like that scene with the off-duty cops.
Oh yeah,
they're like beating up a guy as they were driving by in the limo, and he stops and tries to stop them, and they pull a gun on him, and he pulls a gun on them, shoots him in the leg.
Yeah, and the cops didn't even like. My thing is the cops didn't even pull out a badge saying, "Yay, we're cops." You know, they just like, "Hey, get back in the car," and so Tupac took it as a threat, and he just fired back.
Yeah. And
he shot one of them in the leg. And of course his manager's money manager would come in and be like, hey, well, the lawyers need more money to be on retainer for dealing with all of this stuff. And they were like, well, we can stop money to your family. And he was like, no, that's always going to be. So he was always looking out for his little sister and his mom, and which I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and like getting her into rehab. And there's a couple scenes where there's like a scene where he's giving money to just like a homeless woman.
Yeah, with kids. Yeah, that's another sad thing too about this movie is that you really don't see, like I said, there's no cell phones back in the day, so you don't really see like how humanitarian he was, where he saw the struggle of people, because he was in the hood and he saw like people, like it was a mom living out of her car with 2 kids, and he was just like, here, give her a couple of hundos. And she was just like, and she looked thankful, for the money, and and I thought that was pretty good that they showed everything that was happening to him in chronological order. Because were you able to follow it?
Yeah, I was able to follow it pretty easily.
Yeah, and then and he was making movies. They were showing like scenes from movies, like from Juice. Which was I liked that movie. I thought that movie was crazy. I don't think, John, you've seen it, right?
I think there's another one, Above the Rim. I think.
Above the Rim is another good one. I can't. How are you on my channel if you don't never seen these movies? Anyway, yeah. And it shows how he looked like he was more of a method actor.
Yeah, kind of got into his role and kind of kept it going
Even when the director yelled cut, and like you freaked out the actor that he was acting against, because he looked really menacing. And I thought that was cool. Like, it just shows how much of an artist he really is,
I think I remember reading like an article somewhere where he commented that he wanted to play Mace Windu. Yeah,
I think it would have been cool to play Mace. And then it goes on from there where he hangs out with people, but I mean, these people, he's like 19 years old at this time, and he's hanging out with guys that are giving him money, giving him jewelry, giving them drugs and girls. So it's just like
not really asking for anything yet, but time's gonna come when he has to pay the piper.
Yeah, and then that's when one girl that comes to him all the time, the girl he's seen on the side, or every time he's there she shows up, and he just like kicked her out of his room, and he was like, I gotta go. And he fell asleep in the other room in the hotel, and she runs in, and she's like, oh, that these guys raped me. And then he goes out there and he's telling the guys he's hanging out with, like, what happened. And they're like, we'll deal with it. And they all get arrested.
Yeah, they go downstairs and all get arrested. And then that's when the movie kind of catches up with itself, where it catches up to the point where he's in prison, and that's where the interview is.
Yeah. And it shows how connected that guy he was hanging out with, I think it was Damien, or
I never quite figured.
He didn't really.
They said his name once, and then
that was it.
Never again.
Yeah, and that he was so connected that even the judge, that they separated the case, so everything fell on Tupac, and that there was actually no evidence stating that he raped her, but there was evidence of him touching her inappropriately.
Unlawfully touching her.
Yeah, and it was like 18 months in a maximum penitentiary, which was like, that was crazy. I mean, even the lawyer had to speak out of turn like twice, and the judge shut him down. And then that's when Tupac got shot 5 times before he got sent to jail. He got shot 5 times when he was going to go record a song. And that's when he got shot 5 times in the elevator. And then that's when Biggie came down, and Biggie was just trying to be there for him. And Tupac was just in critical condition, and he tried to go see him.
And the entourage kind of turns him away.
Not the entourage, but it looked like
I guess more hired bodyguards.
Like hired bodyguards or something, were just like family only, so they were turning him away. And then Tupac goes back to court all shot up and bandaged, and they make him take off his beanie, and you see that he has like bandages on his head, and he just looked really bad. And then it cuts to where he's found guilty of that, And then like a month later, February that year, he goes for sentencing, and that's where they sentence him, and then he goes to jail. And like I said, this is what he says that happened to him, and that the guards at the jail like totally beat him up and demoralized him.
Yeah. And like with the scene where his mom comes to visit him and mentions that the system is designed to break you.
And you know that the officer is real nice when she's there, you know, because she tries to touch him and she's like, "Oh, ma'am, you can't really touch him."
Even though he's a nice boy.
Yeah. And then he turns to him and looks at him like
dogging him.
Yeah, dogging him like, "Yeah, say something." And then
you see Tupac, tearing up.
Yeah. And his mom too. His mom was having to go through all that, and it's all cutting through this interview he's doing. Like I think it's in segments to the interviews that he has.
Yeah.
And then that's when Suge Knight comes into play, and this is where it gets kind of sour for Tupac, because Suge Knight offers him a way out, because with Tupac he was selling a lot of albums, but the record label wasn't paying him.
Yeah.
They were just like, "Oh well." To me, it looked like there was like a power play where he's like, "Oh well, he's in jail. Like,
how is he gonna collect?
Yeah, how is he gonna collect his money?
He can't afford lawyers to sue us with because we're not paying them."
Yeah, and then Suge Knight is just like, he even tells him straight up. He's like, "I know you've heard the rumors of what happens, of what I do, but I get results, and that's what you need, is somebody to get results." And he made him sign like a three album deal, $1 million an album, and to get him out. And Tupac was just like, yeah, he didn't read the fine print. There was nothing there written up. And that's all right, kids. Always read before you sign anything or agree to anything.
He made a deal with the devil.
Yeah, and he got him out. And the first thing, Tupac gets on a plane and gets back to L.A., and the first thing that Death Row gives him is a suitcase full of money and drugs.
A chain.
And a chain, like a big chain. But the first thing he does is he goes to the studio and starts cranking out song after song after song with Dr. Dre. And you could tell there was already animosity between Dre and Suge when he got there. And it just showed what Tupac saw of Suge and how he ran the company, where it looked like friendly, like he was just like, yeah, man, just come. Yeah, friendly on the outside, but once you mess with him, or once he thinks you're messing with him, forget it, man. You're getting stomped.
Yeah.
And it shows a scene where the guy just comes in. He's like, yeah, man, just go into my office. And he's going in there, and there's guys just waiting for him, and they're just beating him to death. Like, not beating him to death, but just beating him.
Yeah.
And then Tupac's laughing, and he's just like, well, that's what he gets, you know? And then he goes to another, because it's a bunch of studios that are there, so he goes to another studio where Snoop Dogg, guy who doesn't even look like Snoop Dogg, is there. And he gets on a track with Snoop, and he kind of kills that track. And that's all it shows, is a montage of him just cranking song after song after song out, because he just wants to get out of this record deal. You find out that he just wants to be his own man, to be free, but he also likes the way Suge Knight runs things, where it's all about loyalty and making money. And I think that's where his mindset was, where he was just making music to be entertaining instead of telling a message. I think that's what it was.
Kind of starts to lose his way.
Mm-hmm. And he was making a lot of money, or it seemed like it, because every time we saw Tupac and Suge was always giving him money. Suge was always giving him gifts and stuff. And then, Tupac finished Machiavelli, and he was like, you know what, Suge, I gotta go after a 3 album deal's done. I'm gonna be on my own. And then that's when Suge pulls out a book with a key on it, and he's like, yeah, well, you might be cool on the contract, but you're not cool with the money that you owe me, and that's the other side of the business. And you find out that Suge tied up everything that Pac made into it with money he owed. So like the house, the cars, his music,
money, the studio time, everything in that ledger.
Everything. And he was just like, yeah, so you can go, but you got to pay me. That was basically what he was saying.
Yeah.
And it stopped with that scene where Suge Suge was like, yeah, let's go into the room, and it's the same room where that guy got beat up, and he goes into the room, and it's Death Row East, and I guess he wanted Tupac as a partner.
Yeah, to run the East Coast side of the business.
And it's just so he can stay level-headed with him, I guess. You know.
Probably keep him under his wing and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, keep him making money.
And under his thumb.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and it goes from there where he does the album release, and you know his party lifestyle, which is, I mean, yeah, it's Tupac. I mean, that's what I remember from Tupac is that he always liked to party, he always liked to go out, and the big war between East and West Coast, Biggie, Bad Boy, and Death Row, where they brought Faith Evans, which is Biggie's wife, into it, and like, yeah, let's go record a song, and they looked drunk, and then they insinuated that something happened on the magazine.
Oh yeah.
And it was just adding fire to the flame.
Blood.
Yeah. And it's because Tupac thought Biggie shot him because of the song that came out, You Got Shot in jail, remember? He was playing it, and he thought, and he just remembers what he remembers, and he remembers Biggie being there, like there, and then some guy just standing there, and like people shooting him, but they were all wearing black.
Like camo, yeah.
Yeah, black and camo. So he thought Biggie was the one who shot him, because it was Who Shot You. That's the song, and he was just like, oh, and so that's why he went after Biggie. And then Jada Pinkett comes back in. And she's the one who tells them, like, hey, you know, what happened to what happened to the old Tupac that was all about making music with a message and a revolution and all that. And he was just like, nah, like he wasn't trying to hear it. He was just like, nah, I'm just trying to make music to entertain and just wall out. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And why he was going after Biggie's wife, you know, Faith Evans, and he was just like, that's collateral damage, you know.
Yeah, revenge above all else.
Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to the Tyson fight, you know, and that's probably the end is where he gets shot, but it shows, that's where it starts cutting into footage from the casino and what happened leading up to that whole event.
Yeah. Because
one of Suge Knight's crew got his chains, got jumped and his chain stolen. And he's like, yeah, the guy that did that is over there. So Tupac, being the hothead he just went up there and decked him right in the face. And then Suge and everybody else just started kicking him when he was down. And then that's when he went upstairs and he changed. And he told his girlfriend that he was going to go out with Suge. And he's going to be back in an hour.
Yep.
And it shows that he was like thinking about going, but thinking about staying, thinking about going. And then he went. And you know, he's a pretty funny guy. You know, Tupac was just like dogging on Suge. Like, what did he say about his sweater?
Gospel. Yeah, oh yeah, how looks like he stole someone's rug or something.
Yeah. Throw rug. And his sweater. And then they were listening to the Outlaws, which was like somebody that Tupac was bringing up, and then that's when he brought up that gospel music you were talking about.
Gospel that like kind of ends the movie essentially.
Yeah, and it shows that, you know, Tupac, even when he was driving, people would come up and be like taking pictures, and it's like regular like camera pictures of him.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was real approachable. That's what the movie showed to me, that he was real approachable.
Yeah, despite everything, he was always approachable.
Yeah. And then it shows that he gets shot. It doesn't show who shot him. Of course, it's still unsolved murder. And it shows him get shot. And how Suge, you know, swerves out of control, you know, trying to get away. And that it shows, and then that's when the movie ends, and it goes into like he died 6 days after he got shot, pronounced dead, and like he sold a lot of albums. He had a lot of albums like after he died.
Yeah, 7 posthumous albums, 713 songs.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, so that's basically the whole movie breakdown.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was like an A&E biography to me. So, and I knew everything about the events that were happening. Excuse me. So I enjoyed it for what it was. But I mean, if you don't know anything about Tupac, if you don't know anything about his history, I mean, just wait for it to come Redbox or streaming. That's what I think. But if you know who Tupac was, and you just want to see a movie talking about him, this is it. But if you want to see like a rap bio, I think still the best one is going to be Straight Outta Compton. What do you think?
I never did watch Straight Outta Compton, but from what you said, yeah, it's more of a dramatic movie where this is more documentary-ish, like you said, A&E or Lifetime type of thing. I don't know. I would see it again. I liked it well enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's one of the types of movies I like. So
I can't believe you haven't seen Straight Outta Compton. Jesus. Should I keep them on my channel? Comment down below. Oh yeah, another thing. If you go into a theater, we go to a theater where we have assigned seatings. If you don't have the assigned seat, you're going to get kicked out. And it was hilarious because all these young kids, all these youngsters were trying to get in there and they were getting just booted.
Yeah.
Hilarious. So, to recap, Tupac, good movie if you know who he is. If you don't know who he is, maybe wait till it gets on streaming or Redbox. Like, share, and comment down below. I'm Santi Reviews, and I'm here with
Erston.
And like you said, you would probably watch it again, right?
I'd watch it again. I liked it.
So,
I like documentary time movies. That's your thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, see y'all next time. Santi Reviews. Bye. Yeah. Jesus. Put it in your pocket, nigga.
Hey, he just goes to the blooper room.